What's going on, everyone? My name's Tom. This is Besser Builds. I started off as a carpenter, and then I got into woodworking, and I got a shop, and now a YouTube channel, and blah, 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 blah. But I want to give you some woodworking tips that I learned from the carpentry industry that should carry over. Now, I'm not knocking anybody, but woodworking seems to be one of those things that a lot of people get into as a hobby, and then they become great at. And they have a different background than me, where I was doing a totally different job, but using the same skill set, and I apply it here. So, after watching tons of YouTube, liking and subscribing, just like you should, I came up with some of these tips from a carpenter to all you woodworkers out there. So, thank you. This is a quick tip I learned from the carpentry world, and that is, don't do math. When you don't have to do math, do referential measurements. What do I mean by that? So, here I have a face frame. This face frame tells me exactly how wide and how tall the cabinet needs to be at the widest, because in this particular case, this cabinet's going to go into a wall on both sides. I really don't care how big the box is from behind. Now, this frame's going to get another face frame stacked on top of it, and then a bench is going to be recessed. So here's our side, and it's going to kick in somewhere around here. So I need to put a face panel, which will all be painted the exterior color, here. That way this seam goes away when it's all put together, and then I don't have to manhandle a 10-foot cabinet into place, right? It's two pieces. So this is my drawer box. So I know what my width has to be. I know what my depth has to be. I have all of that cut. So what is the in-between piece of plywood that's going to connect these together? Well, in this particular case, there's no datas. There's nothing like that. So what I want to do is I want to take two pieces of my actual plywood. This will be my sides. Okay, and I want to take this guy right here, and I want to go ahead and take my measurement. And that is 2 7/8 exactly. So I know if I take my total width here and I subtract 2 7/8 and I cut my panel, that will take these side panels and that'll make them flush on either side. Right, so I didn't have to know what that number was. All I had to do was make my parts referential measurement. Now, I want to have a reveal on both sides. In this particular case, I want a 1/4 inch reveal on either side. That way, when I put my 1/4 inch panel on here, this side right here comes out to be mostly flush. So, okay, I'm going to have 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch here. So I need to subtract 1/2 inch off of this, and that's going to give me my final, which would be 2 3/8. That's what my center panel is going to be. No math, no measurements. On a job site, everything's referential. You just kind of get used to it. And for the most part, what you have is I know this thing needs to be finished product this big by this big. And instead of sitting there and planning things all out, then you make a mistake here and it changes everything the whole way down the line. To me, it's just easier just to kind of go with your general guideline, build as you go. So there you go. Tips from a carpenter to a woodworker, referential measurement. That's a word to chew on. I'm glad I didn't mess it up too much instead of big drawn out plans. So there you go. Similarly to not taking a ton of time planning out every nitty-gritty detail of your project and just kind of like going with the flow, you should sort of do the same thing with your shop. So listen, as a carpenter, I mean, sometimes I did only remodels, but even new construction, every new house, you're kind of setting up a mini shop in every house, right? If I can only work on a place and can't use the garage, everything's in and out of the trailer every day, I'm setting a new shop up every single day. Now, it may not be a full wood shop, miter saw, table saw, all of those sorts of things where I put my tools. So literally, I have experience setting up thousands of shops. And here's what you learn from doing something like that, is that sometimes you just got to work in it. Figure out where the friction is. What do I mean by the friction? Well, doing this sucks. Okay, so how do we make it not suck? You can spend hours and hours and hours on SketchUp trying to lay out every single tool just to get in there and figure out that it really kind of sucks. Now, especially if you're in a small shop, which I'm assuming most of you are, I am, this is basically a 2-car garage, you kind of have inherent efficiency, but the one thing you want to watch for is how many times are you doing a lap around your table saw. So instead of being in a big rush to sit down and figure out the perfect location for everything in your shop, just work in it and then evolve as you go. If you watch my shop tour video from the beginning of this year and you get subscribed and stick around to watch my next shop tour, you're going to see a lot of dramatic differences because Yes, I added tools, but also I worked in it. And if you're starting out, you may not necessarily have a dedicated, this is what I'm doing. You may start off making a little bit of everything. And the next thing you know, you're a cabinet maker. You're going to completely change your shop. So don't necessarily waste the time putting a huge amount of thought into how you're going to lay your shop out. Just do it, work in it, and then fix it as you go. Same thing goes to tool organization, what goes in what drawers, things like that. That's why you'll never see me building big shop cabinets in my shop, because I want to be flexible, that I can evolve. And then once you figure out, hey, this is definitely, then you add the permanent thing. So there's another tip from a carpenter. Don't spend a ton of time trying to figure out the perfect shop. Just work in it. Another tip is you should really learn to master all of your tools. Maybe not mastering, but at least be proficient in them. If you're stuck where you're only using your table saw to make all of these cuts, you start to run into built-in inefficiencies. When you're on a job site, a lot of times you don't have a choice but to make this cut this way and make it work. Sometimes you forgot your tool back at the shop and you're an hour away. You don't want to go get it. You're going to figure out how to do that with a jigsaw or whatever it is. The other thing too is, like, if you do know how to use tools and be very proficient with all of your tools, say your table saw is set up to do dados and you need to make a crosscut, well, just jump over to the miter saw or whatever it may be. Basically, once you've figured out how to cut, measure, and how to use all of your tools at a very proficient level, most of woodworking and carpentry is just using those same skills and tools in a new way. And the more you have those fundamental tool uses down, the better off you're going to be. When I was in high school shop class, our shop teacher made us do projects where you have to cut this with a jigsaw, with the bandsaw, with the table saw. Mr. Hoover, I can tell, I can see those saw marks. I can tell if you messed it up or not. No sanding. And that was a very valuable thing, because once you sort of learn to be innovative in your shop and you're not just a slave to one particular tool type, now you have freedom. You can figure out how to solve problems on the fly. So yeah, don't get married to, I got to do this on this tool or that tool. Learn to kind of use everything and be proficient in everything. And then you never know when you're going to get to a point where, crap, now what do? I got to tear this all apart or start over. Or you can just pull out Tool X and take care of it. So there you go. Another tip from a carpenter. Learn how to use all your shit. Okay, so let's say you do have to do some math, okay? And I don't want to get into the whole metric, standard, imperial, blah, 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 blah. But let's just say you got to do some math, okay? Download a construction calculator on your phone. So, here, you got this one. My buddy Joe and I worked on a lot of job sites together, and I watched this dude. Hi, Joe. I love you. I hope you're watching. I watched this dude shout out numbers out loud and try and do math in his head and do fractions and this and that. Don't do it. It's always a mistake. If you got to do some adding and subtracting with fractions, I think they're pretty easily personally, but I'm aware that I'm an idiot, and I try to idiot-proof everything. So just download the dang calculator. You can do rise and runs for stairs and all that sort of stuff, but basically you can divide fractions by 3 and all sorts of weird shit that you never knew that you had to do. So yeah, it's free. I don't even know what this one's called. Just type in construction calculator, get the free one. They'll show you some ads, no big deal. Then hey, next thing you know, you're making fewer mistakes on your project, you're moving quicker, no more doing math in your head. And it doesn't make you smart, it just makes you dumb. You're setting yourself up for failure. You're introducing a way to screw something up. Let's not screw stuff up. Let's get shit done, make money. Let's do it quick. Download the damn construction calculator. Ah. Long cuts first. Always. Okay? If I'm a trim carpenter, I always have some waste in there. But you know what the last thing I want to do? The last thing I want to do is get near the end of the job and realize that I got to go to the warehouse to get more trim. That takes hours off my time, money out of my pocket. You know why? Because I made all my shortcuts first. Now I have a shit ton of trim and none of them are long enough. And I don't want to splice it because it's fancy stain grade. So yeah, even if you're working in the shop, always cut your long stuff first. Guess what? Because if you make an oops on a long piece, now it can be used as a short piece and you can go get more long pieces. It's just kind of material management. Let's call it material management. We'll call this one material management. So yeah, always cut your long stuff first. Also, try and cut your complicated stuff first for the same reason. If you make an oopsie, then that just becomes a shorter piece. Okay, so there you go. There's a nice helpful tip from a carpenter. Material management. Okay, there you have it. I hope you learned something from this. Also, I used a new camera for this, so let me know if the audio is better, camera quality is better. If you like it, if you hate it, leave it in the comment below so I know if I should keep doing this or switch back to what I was doing. Just trying to make things better around here. If any of you else started off as a carpenter and you have your own tips that you want to add, please do so in the comments. I would love to hear them. If you think I'm full of shit, go ahead, leave that in the comments too. So besides that, stick around for the next one. Until then, just go build shit.